Toby Younis with Gypsy Kiss, and I'm just getting back from having spent some time doing some boots on the ground for the World Sand Project, because there's lots of sand to be analyzed under the microscope. Anyway, my mind is always kind of working when I'm driving, and I had Forrest Fenn moment, and I was thinking about his special place. The reason I was thinking about his special place is that I was in a couple of locations today that, although they weren't what I would call, forested, national forest kind of locations, they were still in their own way really beautiful, and I found them just amazingly interesting, Anyway, so I was on the way back, as I was thinking about those locations, I started thinking about, well, what about Fenn's special place? What was it about Fenn's special place that made it a special place? And so I've come to the conclusion there are probably at least three components. If you believe there are more than these three, feel free to make a comment. This is a real rough cut in the video. I'm literally making it on my cell phone as I'm driving, so you're welcome to comment and add to the whether or not you think there are other elements of his special place. But these are the three that I came up with. So the first thing is it had to be visually appealing, but it had to be visually appealing in the context of what Fenn sees as visually appealing. We all have, what is visually appealing to one person may not necessarily be visually appealing to another person. That each individual, based on their education, the environment which they grew up, and how they see things, will have a different interpretation of what is visually appealing. But so it had to be visually appealing as defined by Forrest Fenn. The second piece to it is that I believe it had to have some sort of emotional stimulation, that enough of an emotional stimulation that it created a memory, because his memories are really important to him. And so on one end it could be, the first time he kissed the girl. On another end it could be the first time he found, certainly not the first arrowhead he found, but perhaps the first pictograph or petroglyph or some other thing that discovered that created this emotional memory for him. And it could just as well been, someplace that he was with his father, or he had traveled there with Eric Sloan, or maybe his father showed it to him, or maybe Eric Sloan showed it to him, or it was a place that was special to him and Skippy, and of course it became even more important after Skippy's death. But it had to have some sort of emotional connection for him. And then the third part, after the visually interesting and some sort of emotional connection, it had to be the kind of place where you could comfortably and confidently hide a treasure, right? A very valuable treasure. It had to be a place where you could be, where you could place this treasure and be confident that the treasure would remain in that location for however long you wanted it to remain in that location. And again, I'm not going to pick a number, because I think, I've said in the past, I think he would love to have at some time that treasure found, but I also think that he doesn't care necessarily when the treasure should be found. So those are the three things: the visual connection, the emotional connection, and the fact that it has to be a great place to hide a treasure. And all of these, of course, are by his definition. What's his definition of a great place to hide a treasure? What's his definition of an emotional connection? And finally, what's his definition of something that's visually stimulating? So those are my drivey thoughts. Thought I'd throw them at you. Who knows how often this is going to happen. Talk to you guys later. This is Toby Younis for Gypsy Kiss, signing off.